Let's look at summing data based on multiple criteria using two functions, the SUMIF function and the SUMIFS function. The data set that we'll be using is a list of the top 5 countries that won Olympic gold medals in the last 4 games. You can see that our data set has a column for the year, the type of games, winter or summer, the host country, the country that won the medals, and the number of medals that they won. Let's say we wanted to find out the number of gold medals that the United States had won in the last 4 Olympic Games. Now, this data set is small enough that if we wanted to do that, we could simply do a sum function and find all the instances of the United States, and we'd get 110. However, if we had a lot more data, we wouldn't want to go through and find each instance of the United States. So we'll use the SUMIF function to help us out. I've created a table here to make things a little bit easier. We'll type United States in the country cell, and then we will type equals SUMIF to bring up the function. As you can see from the little screen tip there, the first thing that's required in this function is the range. The range refers to the cells that we want to look in to find our criterion. So in this case, it would be the country column. Next, we need to provide the criteria, which in this case is the United States. Now, we could type United States in quotes, and the function would work. However, it's a little bit better to reference a cell so that we can change it easier in the future and we can drag formulas down. And then finally, the last thing that we need is the sum range, which is the range that we want to actually add up. In this case, column E. So with all of that done, we press enter and we get the same 110 gold medals that we got before. The nice thing about setting up a table like this is if we wanted to also find the same information for Russia, we could take this formula and just drag it down and we get 49 because Excel has recognized that we want to look at the next row down. So this is a very easy way to sum up based on one criterion. But what happens if we wanted to sum based on multiple criteria? For that, we'll need a different function called the SUMIFS function. Using the same data set, I've expanded our table to also include a games column. So if we wanted to differentiate between the gold medals that the United States had won in the summer versus the winter, we could do it using the SUMIFS function. So we'll fill out our table here, United States, and we'll do summer games, United States and winter. And then here, we'll do the SUMIFS with an S at the end. So here, Excel gives us the format of this function, which is slightly different than the SUMIF function that we saw before. The first thing that we need to give is the sum range. That was the last thing that we needed to give in the SUMIF function. So the sum range is going to be this gold column. And then the criteria 1 range is going to be the same from our example before. It's country. And criteria 1 is United States. Now you can see in this screen tip that Excel has also added in brackets, meaning it's optional, criteria range 2 and criteria 2. So if we press the comma, we can add an additional criteria range and additional criteria. So for our example here, we'll add the games column as the second criteria range, and the criteria will be summer. And you can see that Excel has added a criteria range 3 and a criteria 3, and it goes on and on, so you can sum based on multiple criteria. But in this example, we'll only use 2. We'll close that bracket, and we get 92. If we pull that formula down, we get 18. 92 plus 18 is 110, which is the same number that we got in the last example. In Excel, there are lots of ways to add based on criteria. The SUMIF and SUMIFS functions are probably the quickest and easiest way to do that. So it's a really good thing to understand. If you click on the link in the description below, you can download this workbook for free and practice SUMIF and SUMIFS on your own. I also have a tab here that has a list of all the gold, silver, and bronze medal winners for the Olympic Games going back to 1896. So this is a lot of fun data that you can use to practice. I've even expanded our table a little bit more here. This is a table that shows 3 criteria: the country, games, and host country. And you can see that the United States has won 246 medals in the summer when the United States has been the host country. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so you can keep up to date with all of my videos. And until next time, go spreadsheet something awesome.